we live?
Hold on, almost. Yep.
This is so good.
We did it.
We're on?
Yeah.
This is amazing. So welcome everybody to Shopping for Your Future. And I have two of the most beautiful, beautiful women on the planet with me today. How did I get so lucky? I have Sarah and Cassy, who are the CEOs, the founders, and the creators of the I Am Beauty movement. And now it's super cool. They're actually talking about I Am Beauty parenting. So this whole topic on parenting is one huge, you guys. So please know I will do my best to interview these guys and see what tips, secrets, tools, questions they can share with you about their insights on being incredibly different parents. So if you guys have questions and you're watching this live, just post them in the box and I'll try and get to them. But I'm going to just kick off by saying, welcome, Sarah, and welcome, Cassy. And thank you so much for being here it's Good Friday over here in Australia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Happy Good Friday.
Happy Good Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday and happy Thursday to everybody. So you guys are I don't know how you do it. I have not been a parent in this lifetime. So I have to say hats down to everybody who is a parent. I just think it's one of the most incredible jobs you ever have. And I say job because it really is. Like, you have to wear so many hats to be a parent. You have to be so many different, like, you have to have so many tools. You have to speak differently, the communication. So everything from a child coming into the world as a baby to the first days at school, to being a teenager, to, becoming an adult, you sort of never get to stop being a parent. It's not like the time I was a hippie for a week. I just decided to be a hippie for a week. And I was like, I'm just going to try it out and see what that's like. And I just didn't do well because I couldn't wash my hair with apple cider vinegar and bicarb soda. So I quit after a week. But being a parent, you don't get to quit after a week. So, true. So Sarah, you have like a range of different age groups in your household. And
I do. I have 4 kids, ranging from ages, we'll count down from the top, 20, 17, 10, and going to be 7.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 girls, 1 boy. And so we were doing driver's training and potty training at the same time. It worked out because the one that was doing driver's training, she got her driver's ed paid for because she was doing the potty training. See how that worked out for me?
My God. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. And you really are phenomenal. And the thing I just wanted to say to people listening is both Cassy and Sarah still live their lives, because one thing I've seen with moms especially is it's like the curse of motherhood. Once you become a mother, that's all you end up being, because it's so consuming. And you want to talk a bit more about that, Sarah? Or?
I do. I just wanted to let Cherie, who's on, know that she can actually, this isn't a private group, so you can actually share it to your timeline and tag people.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're totally welcome to do that. And we'll be trying to watch the thread here so that we can answer your questions. So if I'm looking down, it's not because Manjit is not the most magical being ever and has all of my attention. It's because I want to pay attention to everybody on the thread. So
yeah,
just so you know. Okay. So your question was, if you would repeat that, like the different roles, is that what you were asking me?
Yeah. Like the one thing I know is like, because I've been a high school teacher for years, and the one thing I found with parents is the involvement with their child's life is huge, and their commitment to their child is huge. But oftentimes the commitment to themselves or who they are as a person goes out of the window. So you two are both amazing at not losing yourselves, and you still have that glow of youth around you and not that tired sort of mummy look. So can you talk, like, and I'm not a mom and I'm not offending anybody, but you know what I'm talking about? You know, that look where you're exhausted and the dog's running around and the house needs cleaning, and that complete whirlwind of, this is what I am now. I'm a mom. I clean the house. I take care of my kids.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, I would love to speak to that for a second, and then also acknowledge that Cassie may have started out not totally losing herself in motherhood, but this girl did not. So it was definitely a choice. But what I will say is a funny story. When I first became a mom, I went through this like crisis thing. I was a young mom. And so I decided to go like clothes shopping one day with my mother-in-law, who we wouldn't choose to shop off the same rack, if you know what I mean. Like, she's beautiful. I love her so much, but we just have a different style. Right. And but I had decided that now a mother, like all the projections, all the expectations, all the judgments, all that crap was now who I be. And so I was going to do it so good that I was going to start wearing collared shirts. And I was gonna, like, oh, seriously, collared shirt. No, girl, not collared like down and sexy. No. I'm talking like, that stuff. I'm pretty sure I had a tank top with a collar on it as
like
well.
more like that, like I should do it my top button.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh wait, I'll do it mine. This could be both. This could be like an amazing mothering shirt because you can take it down.
Still not the look I chose there, ladies. I'm talking full sleeves, like no tank tops this small, and some collared, to keep it appropriate. And then walking shorts were my husband and my best friend here in LA called them soccer mom shorts because they were floral patterned. Not to say that floral patterned is wrong. I'm just saying it wasn't the vibe of my tribe at the time, but I had decided that that's what I needed to look like. And then come like the last kid, I was like, oh my God, I'm a mother of 4. That means something totally different. I had gotten out of the clothes thing. Like, I moved on from that and found my way back to myself. But then I decided, is everybody sitting down that's watching this? I just want you to know. This girl went to buy a minivan. So it killed my soul. Now, minivans are freaking cool, and I'm not trying to make minivans wrong. I just want to let you know it's not the vibe of my tribe. And so it's not like, meaning like it's not what I would choose for me. But because I was being a good mom, I had to look the part and be the part and do the part of the role that I had chosen. And I lost me completely. And I drove that minivan. Now, mind you, it was the most expensive car I've owned to date. Because I got like all the bells and whistles on the minivan. If you're going to do a minivan, you got to have 7 TVs in it. You know what I mean?
Oh no, right? This is hilarious.
But it was so bad. Like I literally like shrunk, and like if I wanted to turn up my music, I had to decide if it was okay to come out of a minivan. Like I couldn't have the play and the fun of me anymore. So when I got out of that, like it changed so much for me. I'm not going to lie. But that wasn't always what I be, is what I'm saying. Like what you see now is like taking the steps and making the choice to find my way back to me, and putting me back on the list and taking away all the labels. Like we talk about in I Am Beauty, is like stripping away those labels and looking at who you actually be underneath and how you want to show up in the world. And your kids can be this freaking rad, like side plate to like you as the main course. They don't have to be the main course all the time. And there are times that they do. And when they're little, they can't feed themselves. You got to help them out. But Cassie, and I'll let Cassie talk about that too, because she's had a totally different journey than me as well. She brought babies in with the access tools and without and all that kind of stuff. So I also want you to talk about that too.
Okay. So I have 2 boys, ages 5 and 7. And actually I have a really different, so I was like going to do mom right, but not from like the minivan, but I read every single parenting book. I'm going to learn every different parenting technique. I took college courses because I used to actually be in childcare before, child development, like all of the things. I was going to do everything completely right. And then I had an X-Men kid.
Wow. Do you want to say a little bit more about what is an X-Men kid, just for people who are watching this in the future?
Yeah. So X-Men, I mean, some people look at it as those kids that have been labeled like on the spectrum or with CD. And I don't look at my kids as even like, most people wouldn't even put them on the spectrum of anything, but they are highly aware. They are very potent. And they are a completely different creature to parents. So people would be like amazed at, they're like, everything's just so easy for you. Like you've got and I was like, oh, no. Like it takes a lot. And what it took a lot of, what I realized, because my first child, I did not have the access tools. And then I was about 8 months pregnant when I had my bars run for the first time. So my second kid, he took his first foundation when he was 3 months old.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. But what I discovered is so different, and actually have a suspicion that this is actually plays in a lot of parents, but they just haven't recognized it yet, is that I never had to give up me to be a parent. It's actually my kids forced me to be more of me. They absolutely demand it. And if I give an inch of who I am around them, they will show me with such intensity that I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, my kids will actually ask me, are you being you right now? Like we have the tools. I'm a single mom. So when they're with me, like it's access tools, it's questions, it's, and talking about future, like we're always talking about the future that we're creating together, always. And so we have this really unique space, and their demand of more of me is constant every day, every moment. So I actually have like the opposite. Like I see parents where they lose themselves and they give up themselves. And I'm like, wow, my kids would never let that fly. They would tear me apart if I ever chose that. And so it's such a gift to me to have them in that way, that we can be that for each other, and creating this space of like, no, we're just gonna keep inviting more of us to like expand and show up.
Wow. So can you give us an example of any time you are like, oh, I'm just gonna put my mom hat on, and like where your children are like, no, you don't get to wear a mom hat, you get to wear a being you hat.
Yeah. Okay, here's a great, like they'll be like, it's like, okay, school's the next day, and I'm in my like mom head. So I'm like, okay, I gotta sign the form. Like I got the parent form, and okay, was it pajama day, or is it pink shirt day, or is it like, like, okay, and then
to give you $1 or
right, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna, and then like, so I'm making the dinner, and then my kid will come over and he's like, hey, can I have like a popsicle or and I'm like, yeah, it's right before dinner, like, well, and then he'd stop and he's like, well, Mom, did you ask a question, or are you just saying that? And I'd be like,
wow.
I'm like, okay, hold on, let's check in. And then I never tell them, I let them own their own bodies. I don't tell them how to run their bodies. So I'm like, okay, well, let's really look at it, truth. Like, would your body actually like a cookie right now? Or would you like to have dinner? And then we'll have like the cookie after. And then we talk with each other. It's not his way or my way. It's not like, we talk about it until we come to this awareness that's right. And we're like, okay, cool, this is what we're going to choose. So yeah, those like unconscious answers that will fly out. Like even me with, like, I'm constantly looking at becoming more like aware every day, more and more. I still hear things fly out of my mouth that are not mine, that are just programming from, my parents or parenting I've seen done. Like, so they catch me on it. They catch me on it all the time.
You are so special. Oh my God. Are you like completely just like in awe of Cassie? Because what I'm hearing is just, I've just never seen this or come across parents done this way or being this way.
When me and my ex-husband split up, it took us a year to kind of create our flow, like whatever that was. It was a lot of like undoing implants and conditioning and trainment, and like looking at how we wanted to create our lives together. Because it was a whole new start for us. It was like, hey, okay, so we have no one else to answer to. It's us three. What do we want to do here? If there were no rules, if we had no reference point, no stability point, what are we going to create this lifetime together? And we just started, it took about a year for us to kind of like sort out like all of that. And then, the space we're in now, it's just magical. It's not anything I ever knew parenting could be.
Wow. It is magical. I'm just gonna soak that for like as long as I can. That is just such a special space to be in, to play in. Thank you, Cassy. That's all I have to say. Like, thank you for just showing up and having the courage to be so different in parenting, because there's so many social structures that have you judge yourself as a parent, or to be kind of seduced back into having to do it the way everybody else does it. So what's that like? Because what I'm hearing from both of you guys is like that lack of being in control. Like, I am in control. I am the parent. I am the adult. Have you ever been like that, or have you naturally always just been someone who's playing?
I've always sucked at control.
Oh, cool.
I suck at it. So but Sarah, how about you? What's that like for you with the control? And
I've always looked at parenting more like more if you're more like a coach. So like if you look at like a coach and a player relationship, it's like they don't get in there and play the game for them. They might call a timeout and talk about a strategy and kind of look at what we want to create on the field, but then it's still the player's choice to go out there and do what they're going to do, and create the game that they want to create. In this analogy, your future, your life. And so, and that in itself, I mean, unless you're a coach and you're a total D-bag, then it's a totally different story. But good coaches. But like, there's that inspiration, there's that like possibility, there's like, okay, hey, like what kind of game plan do we want to put together so that we can come out, on top with this situation or whatever. And whether it's like a popsicle for dinner or, some big life choice, it's like, okay, let's look at all these things, but it's not me doing it for you. And it's not me being above you. And I'll never forget, like, somebody was watching my son when he was like, I don't know, 6 months old or something. And I went to pick him up, and the person said to me, "You won't believe what happened today." And I was like, oh my God, I missed a milestone. Oh my God, like freaked out. And this person said to me, he was sitting there and he was sitting there and the TV was on and it was like he was watching it. And I was like, he's a big bean. He's just got a little body. Like, of course, maybe he was watching it. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? Like, but so many people take the point of view that children are inferior beings. And if we're all infinite beings, then all I have to do, another analogy I give all the time with parenting is like, when you've been working at like a place for a long time and then like someone else gets hired and you get told to like kind of show them the ropes, right? Like, they're not less than you. They just haven't been here as long. So so when these little people get gifted to us and they're in little bodies, like they've got to learn some things and they've, got to come to some awarenesses in this lifetime, but they actually know everything they need to know. It's just your job to kind of help guide it and make sure they don't burn their hand on the stove, like being there and encouraging their magic to show up. It's not like an impelling of like what I know or my magic or whatever, watching them rise to what they know and who they be is like the greatest gift. And it's just having the tools so that when those icky and sticky moments kind of happen, and they do happen, there are times when strangling them would be easier, but we choose not to. We choose to ask questions, So there are still those moments. So I don't think either one of us are painting like, this with like a brush or a stroke of something that isn't actual, like this reality of things that do happen. But it's and then having you, I was just this morning on a call or Zoom situation like this with the Being You facilitators, and a lot of us we were talking about that core of being you. So you as you and getting whole with you and knowing who you are, like it makes it so much easier to like navigate all the parent stuff that comes up and the ups and downs and the roller coasters and the whatever. And then all of a sudden those things kind of start to like not be a thing anymore. Like it doesn't have to like take you plummeting because your kid had this thing happen at school or vice versa. We've had some really funny things happen at school that I think if it were me when I was a kid, they would have been like this huge thing that had this huge consequence at home and whatever. And to have my kids come home and be like, hey, this happened today. Or I had a principal call me about one of my kids and I was like, do you have the right kid? Because this kid never gets in trouble. And I was like, are you sure? Can you check I literally said, can you check the last name on the parent you're calling? And she was like, no, I have the right kid. I was like, okay. So I like went and talked to my daughter about it and recognized it was totally, she wasn't being her. And so all we had to do was ask a few questions to get her back to her. And she was like, I'll never do that again. And I was like, okay, cool. And then we didn't have to have like groundings and punishments and writing sentences. Oh my God, did you guys ever have to write sentences?
No,
No?
I was never a bad kid.
Oh, are you being facetious, or you never had to write sentences for
No, I was never a bad kid. I just knew the rules. So this is where it's so different. Like, I'm listening to you two thinking, wow, imagine what it must be like to have no rules. The rule is to be you. The rule is to show up as your magic, and the rule is to communicate and ask questions. Is such a different space to having the rules of this parent gets upset if you do this, or this parent is happy if you do this, or this parent requires you to be this. And also like that space of parents requiring you to be something so they feel like they're fulfilled or they've done their job correctly. Like, that's huge as well.
That's part of losing yourself, though.
Yeah, it keeps
so
going back to that.
Yeah, if your whole identity is in your kids, then you have to have them perform. They have to end up being magical beings that change the world. Otherwise, you're worthless. So like you have to live through your children then. So if you actually are creating your own life and get that, like, they don't define you, nor do you define them. It's
and being needed. Like, I just find some of the parents I work with, if their child stops needing them for something, that's a huge area as well. Like, they're no longer required if your only job is to be a parent.
Yeah, it was funny. My second came out kind of like, I don't really need you. Like, I'm good. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. I guess I'll just gonna leave you then. You can just put your own shoes on. Okay, it may take you half an hour, but yeah. And what if we were needless of each other? And how much space does that actually gift each other?
It's such a wonderful way to parent. So you guys are, obviously we cannot cover parenting from breastfeeding to, the toddler years and the potty training and all of that stuff that you guys use questions for and tools for. So you are creating a class on parenting. You want to tell people a bit more about that?
Go, take it away, Cass.
Okay, so we wanted to create sort of like a whole month series, and so we have a private Facebook group, and we really wanted to have that kind of tribe feeling, like parents having each other's back, and there's actually a lot of non-parents in our group, which is actually exciting. And so we could celebrate together. We're going to do like tons of Facebook lives. We're going to do playing with energy, playing with clearing implants. Like I'm like, I really want to clear all the implants of how I've been parented, so that I don't parent the way, like, all the mimicry and all of that. And there's going to be 4 calls once a week. And then we actually also added this texting part to it, which is really fun. So you give us our phone number and we're going to text you just like inspirations, like, stuff. We're going to tap into like just stuff from our awareness that we want to gift to you. Could be a meme, could be a little video or whatever. And so it's going to, be this group, this really beautiful group of us coming together and looking at some of these topics. And one of, I guess, I wouldn't say target, but one of the possibilities I perceive is where parents can start to look at their unique beauty of parenting. Not trying to copy, like, what does Cassie do and what does Sarah do, and I'm going to do that now, like exact thing at my home, but their kid that totally wouldn't work for. Where they could start to look at, like, get out of the judgment, job one. Then, okay, so what's right about you as a parent? How can we start to like amp that up? Let's increase that. Let's look at that. Let's look at what are the things you want to change? What tools can we play with? And start so creating this energy of motion. And oh, I forgot. Also, every weekend, we're going to actually have some fun challenges for you to play with your kids and to see like what that creates, what it brings up, how it is like super fun or it sucked. And then see what we can clear and create from those things. Cause that's part of actually going out and doing it. I found like it was so great to hear it in class, and then I would go home and I'm gonna use this new tool with my kids, and I'm like, wow, that sucked. That like totally sucked. It was really hard. And now I don't even want to talk about it with my kids again because now they're not going to go for it anymore. And so having some people to like play with and to bounce that stuff off of and to actually implement this stuff rather than just having the beauty in the class, we can actually bring it home and play with it with your parenting.
Yeah. So real pragmatic tool that you can take home, start applying and seeing what shows up in your family and seeing what happens. That is awesome because I love challenges, and you're right. Like it may not work for your family and it may work for somebody else's completely, or it may work for one child in your family. And this is the other thing, like when you've got more than one personality, how do you sort of conduct that? Like, how do you know what to use with who? And I remember, I think it was Sarah that was talking about you when you're completely different with each one of your sons. Like when one comes up, you approach that completely differently to the other one. So even that itself is so magic.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I remember because I grew up, I had two sisters, one older, one younger in the middle. And we were like, our parents always tried to treat us equal, treat us fair, treat us the same. This is the way you honor your kids, right? And I'm like, well, my kids are so freaking different. Like I can't. Like they're just, I can't do that. Like, so yeah, I really look at every single thing. What's going to work for Zach? What's going to work for Xander? What's going to work for me?
Wow. So what's that like at meal times with the both of you guys, with having such a range of different people?
Right.
I just remember me growing up on a table and I would eat so differently. So I grew up in an Indian household where everything was predominantly Indian and I hated spices.
Oh,
my stomach hated it. I know. So my poor mother would just have to like pretty much make something with no onions, no garlic, no ginger, like none of this stuff. And she'd like plunk that in front, like that would be my meal. And I would have that. And sometimes I'd sit and have cereal at a table and have aunts and uncles come over thinking there's all this like food that was like, you know, gourmet, dripping in butter and spices. And I'd sit there with a bowl of cereal and like just so odd. But you know, and then my sister, on the other hand, wouldn't like tomatoes. Every Indian dish in the world has tomatoes. So then my mother's got the challenge of, you know, creating that. So even that alone, if you're trying to put everybody in the same space or trying to feed them the same food, what's that like as a mother trying to like create even different meals or just different parenting? What's that like with
I can give you my
two kids?
Yeah. So I actually, I'm really weird. I create my meals with my kids. I don't like to cook food and then have them have the fight of trying to get them to eat it. That frustrates me. And that's probably some of the clearing I need to do for my own mom, you know, and all that stuff. So I'll literally go, okay, like I did it already today. I already know what we're having for dinner. I'm like, so what do you guys want to create for dinner? What are your bodies asking for? Is there something particular that's really popping up for you? And then my one kid's like, I want mashed potatoes. Well, I know Zach hates mashed potatoes. So I'm like, okay, so if that's going to be our like side, I'm like, Zach, so what are you feeling? And like right away, he's like, well, I want rice. So I'm like, that's easy. So I got rice, throw it in the ricer. And then I'm like cooking the potatoes that me and Xander are going to love up. And so we create this together where it's an ongoing conversation where, because part of my target is to really give them ownership of their bodies. And part of that is with eating. And that's something that I was not gifted as a child. You finish what's on your plate, you eat what's in front of you, there's consequences, all that stuff. And so I grew up actually like now I'm trying to undo that constantly because half the time I don't even like, now it's different. But when I first started the Access tools, I'm like, I don't really even know what I like. I don't know how much my body requires. I don't I'm programmed to finish off my plate. So I feel stressed out if I'm scraping like food into the garbage. I'm like, no, maybe I should save it. It's 2 scoops of potatoes.
Put it in a container.
Oh my God.
Have it tomorrow. Have it tomorrow.
Have it tomorrow, I swear. Tomorrow I'm like, I don't want it.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, so I look at like for us, eating is always a creation and we're not always hungry at the same time.
Yeah.
And I honor that too. I'm like, okay, cool. So dinner's there and I'm like, you don't have to eat, but I'd like you to sit with us because this is kind of what we're doing right now. And let's chat and let's like, you know, have some laughs. And we're sometimes, and they get to eat when they're hungry and and so much so that my 5-year-old, he was in Xander, the 7-year-old, he was in grade 1 at the time. And he comes home after like a couple months of school and he's like, I just don't understand, Mom. I'm like, what? He's like, it's like, we can only eat at certain times. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And he's like, and my teacher has like, we can only go in the lunch bag at lunchtime. We have to eat the snack at snack time. He's like, but why can't I just ask my body? Like he was like he was like, this is bizarre. And I was like, it is bizarre. I know, but that's normal to everyone else, right? So his world is like, so that's one of my like targets with parenting, is to cultivate that communion and that conversation between them and their bodies always. And I do whatever I can to not be the person that's gonna like kill that for them. So yeah, our dinners are weird. They're always weird. It's a conversation. Sometimes my kid eats a bag of carrots. Like it's like, okay, cool, there's your dinner. Like, and sometimes it's more complex.
How does it get better? This is awesome. I love that. I love that.
Sarah, what's yours? Because you have so many more kids, like, and a husband, and can't even imagine what that is like.
Yeah. So what's it like? Let's put Sarah in the hot seat. She can tell. I'm sure she's got some stories.
Ours is different. Like our food creation's different. I'd be lying if I told you that I was the food person. I used to be for a long time. My husband, since I started doing more outside the home, has really stepped up and taken on those roles. So he's a really good cook. He's Italian. He makes really good food.
Ooh, yeah.
We don't really have a lot of like food things. They do have permission to like kind of eat out of order, if you will. But it's usually like Dad's kind of a really amazing short order cook. So he has so much fun with it. Like in the morning, like one of them wants, he'll make like a fried egg sandwich for my son. And then one wants peanut butter and jelly on toast. Another one wants like a bagel. And he just like has ease with creating so much with that. And then dinner time for us, it's usually a collective meal. And none of them really have like strong opinions about, like, he knows how they like their food, so he'll make it and then just know, like kind of how your mom probably did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really more like the time spent rather than trying to make them eat anything or forcing any food down their throat or finishing a certain amount, whatever. It's more like conversation and fun, and they're very particular about where they sit though. Everybody has assigned seats and that is their choice. If somebody gets somebody else's seat, we have conversation about it. But other than that, thank God, like I don't have any picky eaters. So I think when people come to my home and watch dinner, it's like chaos, but for me,
that's what I was just going to say. I got to eat dinner with your family once and we had ordered pasta or pizza. I don't know. And there was like pasta here and pizza here and this thing. And then they're sharing and and then like, they're like, I want this. And like, I want to try this. I don't like this. And it was so fun though. Like it was this fun with these beautiful, like I love her kids so much. And they're just like, and having some, and like laughing. And then it was like, and I'm like, here, have some of mine. I don't know.
I'm just going to sit here.
It's very like culturally Italian. My husband's Italian. And so it's very like shared meals and yeah, loud and fun. And yeah, I don't know anything different. So like, I don't know what to give you other than, yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. And I think I do. This is like when Cass and I were looking at, I will say this. So when Cass and I were looking at creating this, one of the things that like came up once or twice, like we're looking at where we're actually different with parenting. And so we don't actually hold all of the same, like, hey, this is how I do it, or this, like, come to the Sarah and Cass show because they are totally on the same branding of parenting. We're different.
You got it right.
Yeah. No,
yeah, you did. You definitely did, Cassie. You read all those books, remember?
I did. I don't follow any of them anymore, but I read them.
You read what not to do.
Some of the things that we're different in, it's going to vary by, like, she's a single mom. I'm not a single mom. She has 2 boys. I've got 3 girls and a boy. I'm girl heavy in my house. There are, just different like things about the way that we approach parenting. And so she might have advice for something that in this parenting group, there's all this fun stuff coming in on the thread. Okay. She might have a different like take on something and give a process or a point of view or perspective that like would be so like kind of different than me. And so we're really looking to like that tribe energy of even the people on the calls that are coming, like they're actually coming to share what they know about parenting as well and contribute to each other. It's not about doing it like I do it or doing like Cassie do it. And sometimes we don't do it the same. Shh, I'm on a call.
He's like, do it like I do it. Do it like I do it. I just waggle my tail.
It's my dog. But yeah, so when it comes to like when I would do dinner back in the day, like we would have a discussion and then we would all kind of have to choose something because I wasn't going to be the short order cook. And that was me claiming, like that meant something for me to claim me that like, hey, my time, my energy, all that is valuable too. So we can all eat peanut butter and jellies and totally fine if that works. And we can order in pizza if that works for you. And, you know, we'll order 2. You can have your cheese. You can have all your top, like whatever. But I'm not going to stand here like my husband does and make 4 meals. That's just not my choice. But that's not that that's wrong. That's another choice available to you. And so what we want you to look at is like what works for you, what works for your kids, what works for your family unit and the way that what you're trying to create with your children. And how do you honor who they be in all of those things? And so it's not like, so where I would approach it differently than Cassie is it's not that either is right or wrong. It's just like another way. So when you come onto a call that has 2 facilitators, that's kind of the fun thing about going to any class or anything that has multiple facilitators. You really start to can mold like, oh, I'm going to take a little bit from there and a little bit from there and create like my own. And oh, hearing that made me think of something that I would like to do that's totally different than what they're doing, you know, and like play together and have that kind of come naturally and organically for everybody who chooses the call.
Amazing. And I love that whole thing. Like you already know a lot about parenting, and what you're actually doing is empowering people to know that they know how to be a parent. Otherwise there wouldn't be one, right? Like there's something you actually know about parenting uniquely that somebody else may not know. So
Totally.
that's really, really beautiful space to start unlocking and opening up and actually giving parents that whole idea that they actually know. Because how much of this reality is more about you don't know and you have to go to these parenting groups or you have to go to an expert who will tell you how to parent or show you how to improve the grades or all of that. This is a bit
and
of
there's something so
there.
beautiful in being acknowledged, like just someone acknowledging like your weird ass parenting, sorry to swear, and someone being like, wow, that's pretty beautiful, and being like, what? You know, like I actually had a friend over here the other day and she's got her kid, people label as very difficult. Like everything has to be a certain specific way for it to roll for this guy. And I'm like, you know, I just get it so beautiful that you're willing to take the time to really like be with him and listen to what he requires and you don't make him wrong for it. And she started tearing up. Because I was like, whoa. And I just started to perceive how much she's been judged for that. Like, you know, there's that you spoil your kid or blah, blah, you know, and I was like, oh no, I get you. Like, you're a huge gift. Like, don't you see the gift that you guys are to each other?
Yeah. So amazing. Yeah. Because I don't think a lot of parents actually do even acknowledge themselves or have been acknowledged. It's usually people picking holes at them for not doing it correctly or not doing it properly or, you know, and I remember like, it possibly might be similar for Sarah in like the cultural groups and having like being part of a community where if your child, for Indian community, it was very much if your child hasn't got straight A's or amazing results at school and they're doing great and the right height and the right skin color. So even that, like something you can't even control, there's such a pressure on parents to have, you know, all this judgment that their child didn't show up or turn out the way society would accept them. So then there's this, like I even know for my parents right now, there's my child didn't show up like everybody else. She went off and did this, this, and this, and didn't get married and live down the road and have 3 kids. And there's so much judgment of not getting it correct based on things that are not even ours. It's like you said. So that's some of the things you're going to look at. And
yeah, I think one of like the biggest, like if I had my like biggest target for this creation, it's really is like being willing to be looked at like the worst parent that ever was. Because
Wow.
if you can get to a place where other people's judgments and projections of you as a parent don't matter to you, the freedom in that, and the freedom to let your kid do and be however they choose to do and be, even if it's not going to turn out great. Like candidly, I have a child right now that's making choices that probably aren't ones I would want for her, but I have to let her make them. And when I got out of the point of view of it's a reflection of me and all the hard work I had put in and the attention I gave to detail to make sure that she ended up in a certain way and all that, when I got out of that, I was like, okay, cool. Like it's really just her choice. And it doesn't make it easy. Like but I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and like, oh my God, how are you? Are you okay? Like, I don't know how you sleep at night. I don't know.
Wow.
Like, I mean, seriously, like, I don't know how you're just not a bawling mess right now. And I'm like, well, because it's her choice. And I chose to give my kids choice. And while this situation isn't how I would have painted it or I would have chosen it, it is what it is. And what's going to come out of it after might be something so freaking beautiful that if she didn't choose this right now, like maybe it can be as magical later. So I've got to let it happen, but it's not a reflection on me. And that's what I want to get everybody to maybe look at, hopefully, fingers crossed. It's that if you're willing to be judged as the worst at possible, like there's nothing that can stop you. Like I used to be so worried when my kids were little about like what they looked like as far as like clean like hair and clean face and that their clothes all matched accordingly and then maybe even the design of the clothes or like whatever. I remember my mom used to want to buy my son, poor kid, I should buy him a pair now, light up shoes with like turtles or something on them, and I was like, no, we do not do sparkly light up shoes. Like that was when I was like 21 years old and I was still trying to get it right and make everybody like that I had it together, right? Well, my last one, once I started to really like play with access tools in depth and raise my kids from that place, my last one, like she had a whole array of cowgirl boots, all different colors, like all sparkles or whatever. And she wore them with everything. She wore them to bed. It didn't matter. And they were like, when I think about the cowboy boots and I look at her, like that cowboy boot thing will like always be something that was like almost like my own little medal. Cause like, I never would have let my son do that. And then like, but where she is and who she bees is like, she is this like walking sparkly cowboy boot in the world, because I stopped caring about if it matched or if it was appropriate or like, you know, if we were going to swim class and she had her baby, like I have a picture of her in a little bathing suit by the pool with these patent leather cowboy boots. Like just
you're gonna have to post that now.
I know, I'm gonna have to find it. I totally find it. It's hysterical. And I think actually she had underwear on and a bathing suit top, I'm not gonna lie, and cowboy boots and something that she didn't want to put her bathing suit bottoms on. And so we did it. We were fine. But like that would have like mortified me when I first became a mom. That would have just totally destroyed everything because everybody was going to be judging me and thinking that I didn't, or maybe like I couldn't afford to get her a nice outfit or I couldn't afford a bathing suit bottom or whatever, right? So like I had to always look the part. And when I gave up all that, like I'm not saying I'm perfect. I still have some things that show up from time to time, but like right now, even like my son's a junior in high school and he's starting to look at like what college he wants to go to. And last year I was like, hey, your junior year is it. And I just want to, you know, I have like pushed and prodded all the way up until now, but I'm handing you the keys to your future. Like you get to choose what you do with this year. I will not be checking in on your homework. I won't even ask you about your grades. I will congratulate you when you bring me good grades, like, and share with me what you're creating. But you know what? Like you get to do that. And I was like, so when at the end of your senior year, if you haven't gotten into a college that you want to get into, you're going to have to look at yourself in the mirror. It's not going to be mom. And so here you go. Here are the keys, you know? And he's been on honor roll the whole year. He's doing better than he probably ever did. And it was like, oh my God, epiphany. When he was trying to do it for me, it was like, you know, it was a problem or like it was a struggle. And now that he's got the keys, like he's doing it better than he ever could. And it doesn't matter. Oh, and that's the other thing. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry, I'm rambling so much. It doesn't matter that he wants to stay up till midnight doing it because he wants to watch something on TV when he gets home from volleyball practice at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever. He watches something. If he wants to FaceTime with a friend, whatever, he'll stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning doing his homework, but he gets it done. And if I made that so wrong, like, oh my God, you're not getting your beauty sleep, or Guess we don't say that for boys, but like there's a bedtime. Like I was raised like that, like lights out, you know, you have to get your homework done before you eat. You have to do like whatever. I just never did homework when it was like that. I was like, okay. But my son will do what it takes now, regardless. And so he's pulling the grades, even if he's up till 1 o'clock in the morning because he chose something else. I'm not knocking on his door telling him he's wrong or he's doing it wrong or whatever. He's just getting it done. And it's so much space for me. I get to go to bed when I want to go to bed and not hound on somebody for homework and stress out all the time because he's old enough to do that. So like, if we can get to that place of like, everybody else, I'm gonna do this. Everybody else's judgment as a parent, you actually have so much space for you, so much space for your kids. Your kids can step into so much more because they're not having to live by like the strategic planning of the box that you've created based on all the judgments of you as a parent for them to look a certain way and do a certain way and be a certain way. They get to choose whatever they want to be. You get to have more freedom. It's brilliant. So be the baddest mom / parent, dad you ever could be in all totality and see what shows up because it's brilliant. Brilliant.
That is so cool. I think what you're both saying to me is there's a chance you could be a parent and you could be happy. I never thought those two, like I've seen a lot of parents pretend to be happy and tell you, but I remember when my sister had children and she looked at me and she said to me, right, I love you and I'm your sister. So all I'm going to say to you is these can look like your kids. You can take them whenever you want, just borrow them. But listen, you may not want to do this to yourself. Nobody tells you what it's really like. So, you know, there's so much judgment of once you're a parent and happiness, like going together.
Yeah.
Is like one in a few people, you know, they're lucky parents if they get to be happy. And I'm just loving the conversation you're having. It's so different. It's refreshing. And like personally, I think it's exactly what the world requires right now. Like I was a teacher, like I said, for 17 years. And the biggest thing I came across over and over and over again was kids were always trying to either please their parents or not please their parents, trying to put them into a box, trying to get them to be a particular way and tell them the right way, the wrong way. And the conversation that you two are having is really a conversation that's probably really required for the world to create a future that's such a different possibility. Like what is the future for children and what is the future for parenting that we haven't even considered? You know, we have everything from like Facebook to social media to you know, travel's become easier and information is at fingertips, and oftentimes our kids are smarter than we are. So this whole notion, like the way you're approaching it and the way you're looking at it, I just have to say, if everybody's watching this, and either if you're a parent or you work with kids or you were a kid yourself at one point, this could be a completely different conversation in looking at what else is truly possible here that we haven't considered. And I love both of you are so super honest about all the different ways that things happen in your homes. You're not even trying to paint a perfect picture. It's what works for you. It's what works for you.
Our kids would call us out, I think. I keep looking down at the messages here, and they're so beautiful. And
I can't read them. I think you're the boss.
Thank everybody for being on. So cool. I just want to let you know that I'm tapping in over here too. Yeah, I don't think we could paint a perfect picture even if we wanted to, because who would believe that shit?
Yeah. And is now the time to let go of those perfect pictures and let go of the trying to keep up appearances and being like the Joneses or whatever that is. It's now the time to just have complete permission to live your life the way you want to live it, to parent in the most wrong, bizarre, weird ways and know that you can never get it wrong. Yeah. And to invite your children into stepping up to being the adults and the leaders of the future, that it's not possible. Like we don't have a future if our kids aren't stepping up. And I say ours, I'm like Mother Earth right now. Yeah. So, like,
but you can children too, though, Manjit. Like you absolutely do, and the energy you do, and all the lives that you've touched as well. Like there's been some amazing. I mean, there's been some crappy ones, but there's been some amazing teachers in my kids' lives that like inspired things in them that like, it wasn't my thing to inspire. So when we invite people on this call too, it's like, if you have a draw, I know we have a woman who joined that isn't a parent and just has a draw to contribute to children. And she's been looking for like how to kind of do that and what energies she wants to play in to be that. And, but she didn't choose to have kids this lifetime as of yet. And so like, it's you, like, there are things that I, as their mother, can't even inspire in them or can't invite them to. They like things like, if you think of yourself just as yourself, imagine that. And there are places where you'll go for inspiration, like even going to access classes or having a facilitator, having, you know, an awesome best friend who you create with a lot, that you go to, that there are things that Cassy invites me to that like my mother could never invite me to. And my husband won't invite me to, and you know what I mean? Because it's who she be's. So like, if you not having kids, like, does not mean for 1 second that you haven't inspired many of them to create more, you know, and to be more who they be. And so, and then also where do people like parent things that aren't kids? You know, like your business, your relationship,
your creations,
your creations, that like, if you do want to play, or this is something that draws anybody to, like, they're just like, I don't know why, but I want, because we've had a couple of those, like, I don't know why, but I'm coming. Maybe looking at all of that too. Because really parenting should come from a place of like empowerment and inspiration, and like even how you were saying earlier, like, well, I've said it, but I wanted to acknowledge you in it. Like, I know it says empowerment coach on your page, and that energy of like parenting being like coaching. It's like, what can I inspire in you today? And what can I empower you to be more of you today? And staying in that question, whether it's like, you know, Cassy talked about with food choices or homework and college choices or whatever. It's stepping into being that coach role and asking the right questions and not making it wrong.
Absolutely. And letting kids be that inspiration for you too. We will finish up because you two are so exciting. I could just talk to you all day and just like squeeze you, even though we're at the other side of the world. But I always remember like the shift in being a teacher came for me when I was like, I'm letting go of control. I'm going to facilitate this classroom from now on. And I'm going to wake up every day and I am going to be inspired. And just being the energy of rocking up to a school going, who's going to inspire me? And all of a sudden, like, I taught in one of the roughest schools, and my classroom was like almost like a different planet compared to the other classrooms. Like, I could hear the teacher next door yelling, and he would often get punched and like spat at and sworn. And then there'd be my classroom where like I've got rosemary oil burning and the kids are putting stickers up and somebody's helping so-and-so. And I'm just sitting back in my chair going, wow, like I actually get to sit back. I actually have a very relaxing job. I never, even the marking, you know how that was like really tough for, just like you said, getting them to do their homework or getting them to do their work. They'd help each other. Can I do it? Okay. Do you trust me with that? And I was like, yeah, I trust you. Like, you can do it. Okay. So then like my job went down to 0 doing and 100% sort of just rocking up and being there. And also knowing when to push the kids. They stopped pushing them, especially with the access tools. Of like, they'd come in and like, I don't want to answer those questions. Now, as a teacher, you're like, your job is like, hey, you got to get this done. And I just remember tapping into them and going, okay, just let me know when you want to talk, or just let me know when you're ready to do something different. And then 10, 15 minutes later, they've picked up their books and they're doing it, because there was this whole energy of just allow them to come in and be here. Because you've no idea the household they just came from, or you've no idea what just happened. So this is more for anybody working with children, or even just your kid coming home from school. Just become aware, like there are so many places we go as individuals, and to honor that space and allow them, you know? No, you don't have to do your work. That's fine. Not if you don't want to. You know?
What you said earlier, you said this, you said the only rule is to be you. And like, that is so like exactly what's true for me. It's so beautiful. And for you to invite a classroom to that is gorgeous. Like, I love you so much.
It was so fun. It was so fun. And I remember like my principal used to sit in the room next door, and she'd just come in sometimes, and I never even knew she was there. And in a staff meeting once, she's like, I just came into your room and it was like this orchestrated, strange, bizarre. I've never seen anything like it. Like, it's almost like somebody over here is singing and somebody over here is helping somebody. And she said, I just think, how are you doing this? Like, how have you got everybody sort of, you know, it looked like everybody was flowing into the same flow. And I was like, oh, I guess I wake up every day and I ask how they're going to inspire me today and who's going to make my life easy today. And they used to clean, they'd bring flowers into the room. And this is, I'm talking far north Queensland, roughest of the rough kids, bringing flowers in and writing little love notes on my desk. And so, you know, nobody has a bad kid. I don't believe that. I just get it's the judgments of who they're supposed to be. And once that's out of the way, what else is truly possible, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, ladies. Is there anything else you want to tell people about the future of parenting or anything else? I think we've given so many tidbits and just the gift of you and your joy. And I just want to eat you up, Cassy. I can only see Cassy right now. I just want to lick your face right now. I'm just like, it's just like so delicious. So delicious. Like you're edible. You're so delicious.
Oh, no, that's good.
I won't eat you because I need you. We need you in the world.
Some people like say they want to lick my hair because it's like ice cream, but I've never heard this. That you know, I like this. Let's talk more often. I know.
Let's talk more. I will just lick you because I am vegetarian. I think if I ate you,
yeah, that's it counts as meat. Yeah, mm-hmm.
It does. Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to finish off with? Like, you've been so amazing.
Looking in our thread here, Jessica said, today when I had this boy that I was working with, he wasn't working with me, and I only tried to push him for like 30 seconds. And then I calmed down, asked him how he was and if he wanted to do this. And then he got the choice. And he worked with me, and I even got to run his bars.
Wow.
So,
wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, sometimes just giving space and knowing that like they're big beings and little bodies. So letting them have choice is actually one of the greatest gifts you can give them, for sure.
Yeah.
And
giving yourself the choice as well to not buy into the story and not make it real, not make it all about you.
Yeah, I sometimes feel like I'm like a how would I describe that? Like I am here to share with you the possible consequences of this reality. So let me share. So here, kids, we get to do and be this. But when you go out there, if you don't want to do your homework and your teacher's human and not humanoid and doesn't see, like, there's going to be a consequence. And so, like, I don't make them wrong. If I go, so you can choose whatever that, like, what you have the choice to do it or not do it. Like, I give it to you. Totally cool. But this is what this might look like, you know, like this is what could happen, or let's deduce from what happened last time someone did that in class and what it created, or like stuff like that. And like having them like kind of create that awareness around like what they want to choose. So like with my son, it's like, okay, cool. You can totally slack off your junior year if you want, because he was kind of getting that way his sophomore year. Totally fine. This is what this might look like. If you don't get the grades, you might not end up at the school, which is totally fine. Like you can still create your life if you don't go off to like the 4-year college of your choice. Like you can choose to go to junior college for 2 years and then go to that school. Like there's all sorts of possibilities available to you, but just know that these things in this reality usually look like this. So like I'm usually kind of like with my kids, like showing them like, okay, cool. Like what do we have available to us? What are our possibilities? And then making them aware of what their choices like could turn out to be, and then ask what they're aware of as well when they're choosing it. So like if they're like, no, Mom, I still want to like, you know, color the sky green in my picture. And I had a kid that did that, was color every color. She liked her sky green, and I was like, okay, cool. And teachers would make her wrong for it and mark her down. No kidding. In kindergarten, first grade, she was told like the way she's like, literally one teacher said, I questioned the way she sees the world, but she meant like the world, like, but it was just like this like thing that had a double meaning. It was so weird. I was like, you question how she, okay, cool. But anyways, I digress with that. But like, so what was the huge choice of coloring her thing green? Like in kindergarten, well, it doesn't matter if that's what you want to do. Like, I don't need to redirect you on what color you color with my son early at that age. I would have been like, it needs to be blue, baby blue, look for the Crayola that says sky blue on the side. Because that's the one for the sky.
Put a cloud in there. Don't forget to put a cloud in there.
And then it would be like, never mind, just let me do it. And I'm not like that's who I was. And I also didn't want him to get judged. You know, I didn't want him to do it wrong or have to deal with that. And I will let you know, ladies and gentlemen, the choices I made as a young mom from what I am now, like if I didn't totally screw this kid up, like you guys have nothing to worry about. Like if you have not this day used any access tools and you're just being like, it's too late. They're already 9 years old or 12 years old and I did it wrong for 12 years. How can I change this or whatever? Or 28, I don't care. You start being a different space, you're going to invite them to a different possibility. And so my son, like I might be one of those weird parents who are totally like in love with their kid. But I am, like, he is like so awesome. He's one of the most awesome. He's like one of my favorite human beings on the planet. Like he melts my heart every day. He's a gentleman. He's kind. He cares about people. He cares about the world. He's like smart as shit. Like, and so I didn't screw him up. I mean, I also am getting the energy of like when people like look at this and been like, oh my God, I don't even know where to start because I've done it this way because it's how I've always done it and blah, blah. Like, trust me, if he is not like living on the streets at 17 because I screwed him up, because I did. I took every crayon away and I was like, let me do that sky for you. I will show you how to do an appropriate cloud. We need this many bubbles. You know? I did. And he made it. So there's hope. There's always hope, and you can change whatever you want. You just have to ask a question. And yeah, so that's such a gift, like to be able to look at like not judging anything that you've done in the past and like choosing in this 10 seconds and moving forward and being who you want to be and inviting them to be who they want to be.
Oh, you girls are so juicy and delicious and gorgeous, and I don't even know what other words I can come up with. Can I say the word orgasmic? You're both so orgasmic.
Yes.
Maybe orgasmic parents. Parents and orgasmic, does that go in a sentence together?
Yes.
I think it should. Yeah.
Definitely.
I think it should for you two, for sure. Well, I've absolutely loved this conversation. It's totally opened up my world. And I'm sure anybody watching this now or in the future, there is so much in this. And all I want to say is take what these ladies have to offer, everything they've just gifted us, and just join their class. I know you're supposed to ask people questions as a facilitator. I'm just gonna make up the rules. I'm gonna be the worst facilitator ever right now and say, I'm just gonna be it and say, truly, 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 there's either kids in your life, there's, you know, you've been a kid, you may have a family, all of that sort of stuff. What these two are inviting you to is so different. If this calls to your heart, calls to your space, join. If it doesn't, still join, because there might be something there that you're resisting.
I will say to Manjit, so if parenting is not your thing, I'm going to do a little shout out for Sassy, because Sarah and Cassie equal Sassy, and we do have three foundations on the books, June, July, and August. Mm-hmm. So if it's not the parenting thing you want to do, we would love to have anybody. In June, we're in Sarasota, Florida. In July, we're in London. And I know. And in August, we'll be in LA. So if parenting isn't what you want to call like your thing right now, you can still come play with us and those other possibilities. Yeah,
absolutely. I am so grateful for your time today. I'm grateful for you today. And I can't wait to see you at somewhere in the world.
I know. Where will that be?
Where will that be?
Well, you got to tell us. Where are you going to be?
I'm moving to Sydney. Do you want to come to Sydney?
Well, yeah, I want to. We're on our way.
It's a fabulous city.
I got nothing to do in December.
Do it. What would that be like?
Oh my God, did we just plant a seed? Did we just throw one out?
We did. I think I just shopped for my future, because I already have a picture of me and Cassie. We're skipping, by the way, Cassie. So we're skipping across the beach holding hands.
I love skipping.
Yeah, me too. I had to find a friend who I could go skipping with, and you're in my ask journal of skipping on the beach with Cassie.
That's so cute.
Oh my God, we're going.
Love it. We're doing it.
Yeah, and Sarah, we could climb the bridge or something. I don't know. We could do something.
I can watch you
We
guys.
can do anything.
You can skip with us.
You can skip, yeah. You can film us skipping.
Skip threesome. Can you skip on the beach? Also, I'm just curious. Is that a thing that you can do?
I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. It's in my ask journal. Nothing's impossible is what I hear.
True. So true.
We have to find the right beach first, Cassie. It has to be one of those flat ones.
And you need water socks. I want to see you guys in water socks.
What's a water sock?
Oh, you'll just look ridiculous. It won't help the skipping, but you'll look ridiculous, and I'm the one filming, so I'll have a lot of fun.
How does it get better? Wonderful. Alrighty, you guys. Have you guys put the links in here for everybody to find you easily? And we can always put that up later.
Yeah, we can. I think someone did. I might be wrong. Oh, I think Agnes put something in. Anyways, we can come back in.
Thank you so much for inviting us on.
Yeah,
I'm so grateful
Thank
for
you. Thank you.
I just adore you. You're so
What
magic.
futures can we create? You guys. Licking your face, patting your hair, Sarah. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
I just want to touch Sarah's hair.
Oh,
Yes.
it's there for you.
Yeah, this is how I shop for my future right now. This is how I shop. Just putting little seeds in your world.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
How does it
Great.
matter?
I will.
Alrighty, beauties.
Thank you for having us. We're so grateful for you.
Thank you
Thank
too.
you everyone who watched.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes,
Commented.
share it with your
We're
friends.
so grateful.
Share shamelessly. Just share
Oh,
it. Share it.
shamelessly.
Share
I
it.
like it.
Do it shamelessly.
Bye.
Bye, beauties.